The arc of Drum Island, and Hiriluk specifically, reveal what One Piece is about at the core. First, an ethos can be defined as the characteristic spirit of a culture, era, or community as manifested in its attitudes and aspirations. So in this case, the ethos of One Piece is the spirit of the story of One Piece, what the story actually wants to convey to the viewer and reader. My opinion is that One Piece's ethos is about redefining reality in a way that intertwines with the belief of infinite yet believable possibilities for inner freedom in our world. I will argue that One Piece is about the realities of life. However, this idea of reality isn't what you would assume it to be. Take, for example, how people often associate realistic films or series with stories where typically sad things happen, and where the characters are mostly only negatively affected, both physically and psychologically, by events that they have no control over for the majority of the runtime. Why do we call these types of stories more ingrained with reality? They say that films and series mirror the reality of our world. However, why have we decided that only certain approaches to representing life are realistic? Specifically stories of fiction, after all, that portray specific events that merely mimic actions and events and feelings that we experience or see or hear about. In a way, there's still a narrative, one way of looking at life. What about symbolic representations of beliefs, actions, of other aspects we experience in life? Why do we consider these types of stories to only be fantasy then, when they are able to poignantly express realities in our lives? One Piece as a series continuously challenges what you assume to be real life or reality. That is the true power and hope that One Piece gives, and this is reflected in Hiriluk's statement, "When does a person die?" This is also shown by how most of the tragic parts about One Piece aren't actually the physical, concrete things that are happening, rather, but the symbolic realities of what matters that is tragic. And what is moving about the tragedies shown in the backstories isn't only the tangible tragic aspects such as thievery, death, separation, betrayal, or genocide. It's the gratefulness of the characters. Example with Ace thanking everyone who loved him, Hiriluk being relieved that it was a trick, giving hope to Dalton and Chopper, by doing so trying to cure them when he himself is on the brink of physical death, as well as his gratefulness to Doctorine for taking in Chopper. When you see Whitebeard uttering the fact that One Piece exists, reviving hope and joy of life when he is about to die himself. When Soul gives hope to Robin by saying she will find friends who treasure her. When Bellemere gratefully says she loves Nami and Nojiko as her final words, and encouraging hope instead of hatred to the era in which they live in. Hiriluk's definition and understanding of pirates also reflect this, in the way that he sees pirates as symbols of freedom, in the way that they live based on their own moral codes rather than by the law, which is dictated by the government and essentially other people crafting a specific reality. Pirates are able to transcend this. Hiriluk's belief that every person in the world can be saved, therefore, reflects all of this. How hope, the sublime, a specific form of the enlightened but empowering vision and experience of the world to truly feel alive. Hiriluk's severe heart condition, for instance, is not only physical but psychological. His quote-unquote incurable disease made him feel despair and hopelessness. Hiriluk strongly implies that seeing the impossible happen cured him of his heart disease figuratively, but that in a sense, this also affected his physical illness and possibly made him live longer. The latter is a core message that Oda consistently embeds in his stories. It can also be seen in how Hiruluk fights with Chopper, saying to be able to have a fight, you have to have an opponent, in reference to how Chopper didn't have anyone around him as everyone had abandoned him when Hiruluk took him in. This is how Oda often portrays genuine love, specifically where the characters treat each other as equals, regardless of how difficult or sad one character's circumstances have been or are. The other characters who love that character will treat them as an equal, and that means without pity, because pity would dishonor them. This is the same as when Luffy punches Vivi. He sees her as a person and friend first, and this is how he would treat anyone else close to him in that situation. Then we see Hiruluk's statement,
人に忘れられた時
causing Dalton to cry and Wapol to laugh. In Dalton's crying and Wapol laughter, there's one who understands the depth of Hiruluk's words and what they mean to the world, and the other, Wapol, who doesn't understand at all. So his laughter is a form of foolishness, which Dalton mentions, saying there is no way to cure fools, and this is a metaphor that aligns with Hiruluk's idea of saving people. Dalton's statement is something I believe Hiruluk would disagree with, in believing that every person can be saved. This is a core and repeated element in One Piece that is the heartbeat of the series. I believe One Piece is so moving because no matter what level you consciously understand the layers of meaning in the story, you still subconsciously feel these meanings. That is not only hope, but the kinds of things that matter in this world. Freedom and its distinction from indulgence, the importance of treating each person as a person and not be blinded by prejudice or assumptions, how laughter from the heart is possible at any age, at any point in time, how the real treasure is what or who someone truly cares about, how relationships are most beautiful when you understand that everyone you love is a free entity who you are not entitled to nor bound to, but whom you trust with all your heart, and you know that they do too. One Piece is about awakening your ability to feel and see things that you become accustomed to not seeing. One Piece is about the courage to not only continue finding yourself, it is about seeing the world for more than what society tells you the world is and has to be. Your ability to see the meaning behind the blooming cherry blossoms in the winter trees.